pleasant good morning, one and all. Good morning, and welcome to the Wednesday's episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Welcome. Today, Wednesday, the 8th day of May 2024. Welcome, one and all. Hope you had a very good week. We were last week, Wednesday. And it has been a long time, a whole week since we have been on. So, welcome, one and all. The fact that we have not been on for a whole week is reflected by the number of students who are in the schoolyard this morning. A record number, I must add, in the schoolyard waiting for us to open the school door and for them to rush in. And of course, since we went live just a few moments ago, the people on Facebook have been rushing into the classroom. So welcome. Share the live. We tell you by now it's routine. Once you get on, share the live, and also give us a thumbs up. Give us a thumbs up, and let's see how appreciative you are for our efforts at being here and sharing valuable and credible information with you. Like as usual, we have lots of information to share with you this morning. As to be expected, seeing that we hadn't anything on Monday, we have a lot of information to share. And talking about Monday, we did announce last week, Wednesday, that there will be no program on Monday. Yet still, the students were calling, texting, messaging to find out why no class. A lot of people try to find the live, they say, and then they call me to say they're trying to find the live. They can't find the live, including some regulars. Some regulars were doing that. So I know. It happens to all of us. So once again, welcome. Share the live. Give us a thumbs up. And we are going to get into it in a short while. Now, you have to say this is the day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. Let's give praise and thanks to Almighty for allowing us to be in the land of the living. It's a privilege to be in the land of the living. It's a privilege to be here with you this morning and to share this live broadcast with you. And well, we say live broadcast. Well, for those who can't make it on the live, we know they go to YouTube and Facebook after and they catch up because all the programs are there. Again, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel on YouTube. Every day after the program, we can see many of you have gone to YouTube and have subscribed to the channel because I can see the numbers mounting. Also go to the Facebook page by the same name and like the page, and we are going to be able to send the information to more and more persons. I noted this morning in running through the list some new names. I was about to say strange, not strange, some new names. But I tell you how it works. Sometimes those people are on, but they have never commented. Some people just sit back and enjoy the ride. So we're not going to know if they are there. But some people come on YouTube early in the morning when the program is scheduled and they comment, welcome, they say good morning, and they like, which is very much appreciated. And therefore, those are the ones who we see are in the schoolyard. But we are confident that more people are going to be just in the background waiting for when the program to go live, to join us and to receive the information. And I should not only receive, because many people actively participate, they make suggestions, they ask questions, and that too is appreciated. So yeah, share. Let them know that we are on, and very shortly, as the format goes, by now we're familiar with the format. We got to do the roll call, and after the roll call, we're going to make announcements, and after the announcements, we're going to go straight into the program. So yes, welcome one and all. Welcome. And let me do the roll call. And after the roll call, then we're going to go. As I've indicated, we have record numbers in the schoolyard this morning. The highest number recorded, sitting in the schoolyard waiting. And as soon as we scheduled the program this morning, they were there. And a note is that this morning when the program was scheduled, I went into the studio and I saw the early names that were there. And when I got back, I came out, and when I went back in, I think about the top 5 to 6 names were removed. We got from maybe, I think, of 5 or 6. But I can recall vividly when I went on this morning I went into the studio. The first name I saw was Wayne Liddell from the UK. I also saw J.K. Gavin in the studio, in the schoolyard waiting. However, when I got back in, the first name there was our good friend Sean from New York. He was there, followed by Organized Chaos. Then we had Delta, Delta Media. Then we go on. Let me run it through quickly. Evelyn, Forgus, Kenneth is there. Orin, I don't know if you're back in the UK. Orin is usually from the UK, but recently he was holidaying in Guyana. So I hope you enjoyed your holiday, Orin. Then we have Derek came in, Desiree from Georgia. Then Clay came next. Then after Clay, the one and only Ulrich from Crane Housing Scheme. Then we had the original Black Man. Then the Saul, Brian was here, followed by Denise, and this is Denise Moore, Ezzy, Coatley, Saul, Tessa from Orlando, Cecile, she is here. Delightful Wednesday, she says. Brennan came in next. He's from Brooklyn. Maureen, followed by Barley, the man from the hills in Linden is here. Uncle Paul, and Uncle, let me read quickly what Uncle said. He said traffic lights, police using traffic lights as a payday in the night. You see how they park in the dark corner on the road, waiting to break somebody. And that's the allegation that is being made. Bonita is here. Then Joan came next. Queenie from Brooklyn is in the house. And Queenie, thanks to that thing, y'all. Thanks to the small contribution. Thanks very much. Anthony came next, followed by Raul, followed by Clifton, the man from Paris. Then we had Melissa, Keelan. After Melissa was Keelan. Winston Arthur from the UK, and he came in at 7:50 this morning. Charles DX, Charles Goodman, my squad mate, 9407 came in next. Then we had Carlisle, followed by John, followed by Como, 8218 from New Jersey. Then we have Malcolm. Debbie is in the class, and she's from Providence on the East Bank of Demerara. Wayne came next. Tilula from Brooklyn. And Tilula, she's from New York City, sorry. From New York City. Carlton, my squad mate, is here, 9430. Then we have the one and only Rastaman, followed by Francis Keith from Melanie Damashana. Then we have Grace. Then we have Barbara. Emerson is here. He's from Canarsie, Brooklyn. And he says a rainy day in Canarsie, Brooklyn. Followed by Winston from California. Lucius from Maryland. John Knight. Then we have Lynette, Scotland. Felicia. Clive Nestor. Clive is from the UK. I know very well. Earl. Then we had Floyd. Danny is here as well. Welcome, Danny. Sharon is from the UK. Sharon is here. Terrence from Canada. 9795 is here. Sandrine is in the house. Then she says she's from Linden. Ronald came in next. Then we have Clarence came. Then we have Carl, my squad mate from Arizona. Paul Archer from Canada. Then Malcolm. And Malcolm say like pocketbook is a thing of the past. He talking about the police pocketbook. Well, it's true. A lot of things that we were accustomed to and were so useful are no longer in use. Walterine is next. She's from New Jersey. Gaston, my squad mate, 9556. He is from Canada. Princess Earl from Lamar Springs is here. Anthony Bradshaw from Peters Hall in the East Bank of Demerara. Mary from Brooklyn. Mary's is the next person from Brooklyn. Let me put that back up. Mary from Brooklyn. Then we have Court says waiting for the credible information. Followed by Morton. Followed by our next squad mate, 3349 Doreen. She's from Canada. Then we have Orin. We have 12758 is here. Isabella. Then we have the man from Schenectady, New York. Roy is here. Jacko from Georgia is in the house. Followed by Mr. G. Mr. G, I can't recall seeing Mr. G before. Either he was there, he never commented before. Nigel came next. Then we have Clifton. Ramutar is in the house. Carville. Then we have Linden. Then after Linden was Rhonda, and this is Rhonda Chance, because we have other Rhondas are usually in the program. Everett, the man from Texas, is here. Melville is in the house. Then we have, well, let me put back Everett came back. He said, Everett wicked man. He said, man is unaccounted for. What of Caesar he talking about? He said, some Mr. Caesar is accounted for. I don't know. I can't. You asking Paul. Paul, I know where Mr. Caesar is. Then you have Vernon is here. Sandra, Kerry is in the house. Philip, Lynette, and this is Lynette Fraser. She is from the UK. Then we have Marcus, Monica, and Monica, she's from Friendship on the East Bank of Demerara. Family Music. Then we have Denise. And Denise, again, condolences to you, my sister. I'm going to make the announcement a little later. I did it before. I'm going to remind persons of your mother's passing and the funeral arrangement. I have it listed to talk about. Then we have Aubrey. Aubrey's old police 9053. His numbers was. Brian is here. Claude is from Antigua. He says 9342, if my memory serves me right. Then we have Trevor, Karen, Tia, Ben, 123, Sheena, Unruly, TRA 8. Some strange names we see coming up. Strange student. Marcus is in the house. Carabine Tires. Recall Carabine Tires here before. Donna is here. And she watching from iFluk, or as the people say, UT Fluke. She's from iFluk on the west coast of Demerara. Cranston is here. And we have, after Cranston is Magnell. Then Orville, Jacobis, Michael Brower. Then who we have? Then we have Gordon from Canada, Old Police 6659. Corinne is here. Pauline. Then we have Keith from Barbados. Bim in the house. Bim in the house. Colin from Queens. Sherwin. Followed by, then we had Bray. Then we have the one and only Rich Forever Chilo. Then Heather came in next, followed by Fort Welly. Said detective in the house. Office Sean, pass the diary. But book, you got paid somebody in red. Pass the diary. Mr. Simpson, another new student. Carol is here. Ulrich from Barbados. Then we have our next Ben. The Bens are well represented. I hope the other one going to be listening to. The other one is going to be listening. He ain't going to watch your life. Well, sometime perhaps he does. He will. Then we have Aileen. Then we have the one and only Louis Crawford, followed by Vibert. Then Mandela, Shamlin, Anne, Marcia, Tessa, another Vibert, Old Police, Vibert Smith, 7454, I think it was. I can't remember his number, but Vibert was a very good detective. And then the last person in the class, in the schoolyard, was Felicia. She came in at 10:59. And when we went live, we had Edward, we have Simone, Karen, Brandy, Petal, W385. I can't remember these numbers now. Odessa, and it goes on and on and on. Again, I say we run this. Part of the reason for doing the roll call is to let you see that when we tell you hundreds and hundreds of people are on, and the amount of people or the number of people that are in the class. So we ain't calling figure, we ain't bluffing nobody. And I have to recognize Adi. Look, Adi is here. She said, Mr. Slow, she was congratulations to me. My mistake is made. Mr. Watching, keep it up. Old Police, W259. Adi is in the house. So let me do the announcements, followed by, I'm going to bring in Mr. Conway, and then we are going to move on. Now, as I indicated earlier, we would normally start with these sad announcements, and we did announce the death of Miss Lillian Booker Headley. She's the mother of Denise, and you know Denise is a dedicated student, notwithstanding the fact that her mother has died, and will be the funeral services today in Brooklyn. She died on April 25th. She was 101 years old. And the funeral service is this afternoon at Gorino Funeral Home on 922 Flatlands Avenue, Brooklyn. Viewing is from 4 to 7, and then the funeral service is from 7 to 9. And the information is she'll be buried in Guyana on May 20th. So the funeral service in Brooklyn is today, this afternoon, viewing from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. And then the funeral service from 7 p.m. to 9. And the funeral will take place in Guyana on the 20th of this month. Also, another member who is not here this morning I want to mention it. We accustomed to seeing Patricia Gravesandi Goodman. She is not on the program this morning because right now she is in the UK, in London, I think it is. Her father is being buried today. So I want to express condolences to Denise and her relatives, and to Patricia, her husband, BX, and all our relatives and friends on the passing of your loved one. I hope that the good Lord gives you strength to withstand this trying time, and that your the ones who have passed will rest in peace and rise in glory. Right. So let me I see there's some comment here say oh, I think that is the funeral that we had yesterday. Corporal Charles was buried yesterday. I think somebody is mentioning that. That was mentioned before. Now let me other announcements. Let me take this opportunity to wish all the mothers pre-Mother's Day greetings. Sunday coming is Mother's Day. That is the day not only for mothers, for the ladies. So I want to take this opportunity to wish you all the best on that day, Mother's Day, the special day for all the mothers. That is Sunday coming. Birthday greetings, I want to wish my shooting partner. Well, I can't say shooting partner because I ain't shooting actively now. My old shooting partner, John Fraser, the short man. He's normally on this program. I haven't seen him for a few weeks, but he's normally here today. He's celebrating a natal day. So all the best to you, John. What else to announce? Let me bring in Mr. Conway, and then we are going to go on. So let me bring in CC. CC, welcome, and hope you had a wonderful night, and that you're looking forward to an exciting program today. How are you, my brother?
I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm looking forward for the program. Happy to be in the land of the living to do God's work. And you gotta pay a fine because I think Monday was Denny's birthday and you didn't remember to wish her a happy birthday. Despite the fact that her mother will be buried today, we still want to wish her belated birthday greetings. And Vibert Smith, 7464. He was my mentor when I was at my Coney there, held me together, held my hands together, and taught me a lot of CID work, a lot of CID work. 7464 Vibert Smith.
Yeah, well, Vibot is on the program. Vibot, sorry, I forgot your number, your regulation number. But we're getting old, and these things so slip us from time to time. Now, the next announcement I want to make, I want to take this opportunity to congratulate my fellow Baronians, us from BV, Better for Waktin, the village on the east coast of Demerara, just about 9 miles east of Georgetown on the way to Borbis. Today, May 8th, is the 184th anniversary of the village. The village was bought by ex-slaves on the 8th of May, 1840. So today we're celebrating 184 years. I don't know what they have planned, what type of activities they have planned, but these things are not to be allowed to go unrecognized and unnoticed. Because if you don't remember your history, somebody can write it and they misrepresent it. So today is that day, May 8th. Some years ago, they actually started a movement that actually contested the local government elections. One of my cousin Eugene Osafo Odinga, was prominent in that. We know Elton McCrae, and these guys are very prominent in the movement. So I will hope that they have something planned to remind people that Better for Waktin BV, or they say Better for Wakin, was bought by ex-slaves on the 8th of May, 1840. And this is significant, because remember slavery was abolished in Guyana in August 1st, 1838. So less than 2 years after, the ex-slaves were able to pool their resources and buy that village. Very, very significant. These things have to be recorded. These things people have to be reminded of what took place. Can you imagine that? Ex-slaves, whatever little they had, they pooled it and they bought that village 184 years ago. So I want to again congratulate us all Baronians on this anniversary. And again, I urge the people who are there, the prominent ones who would represent the village, to make sure that this occasion does not go unnoticed, right? So let me hear what you have planned for today. Now, the next thing I want to tell you about is I have to update you on my trials or my tribulations in court. Yesterday, I attended court virtually in this trumped up sexual assault charges, because there are three, and in front of the acting chief magistrate. If I a quick rundown is that these charges were filed on the 19th of May 2021. So it's almost 3 years these charges were filed, and it going through and back and through, back and through. And in December, it was scheduled in court 3. The same magistrate who tried the conspiracy to commit fraud charge, the charge was dismissed against all of us, me, Mr. Cameron, Mr. Whitaker, and others, on the 27th of December last year. And then when the sexual assault charges came up before the very magistrate in January, she indicated that in the interest of justice, she is going to ask for another magistrate to try that case. And she sent it back to the chief magistrate for the chief magistrate to assign a new magistrate to inquire into those charges. Well, the matter came up before the chief magistrate yesterday, and the chief magistrate decided that she would be the one to inquire. She's going to conduct the trial, and she set June the 25th, 27th, and 28th as the trial dates for those matters. Again, June 25th, 27th, and the 28th for the trial date. But I have some concerns which I'll express a little later. And the concerns I'm talking about has nothing to do with attacking anybody in the judicial sphere like the vice president would normally do. That is not it. But when I explain it a little later, I'm sure you are going to understand what I'm saying. So yes, as I've said all along, I am looking forward. I don't want a Dharam Lal. I don't want a Ashley Singh. I don't want a Irfan Ali, Nandalal. I don't want them to be withdrawn. I want the matter to go in front of the court and be dealt with on its merit. That is what I want. So the thing, and all of those, the one who weak down the Lexide, the Volkswagenists and all them with the right, a lot of crap, slow and running from nothing. I grew up with old people and they say, you do nothing, you fear nothing. You do nothing and therefore you fear nothing. So it looks as though finally the matter is going to be ordered. Well, I got some concerns which I'll express a little later. You know, and the saying goes, justice delayed is justice denied. So 3 years since the charge or these charges have been filed, and I can't get me day in court as yet. 3 years. The allegation is the incident is alleged to have taken place over 5 years ago, and we can't get with the. I can't get with the. Well, not me alone, because I guess the accuser would want to have the day in court as well, but we can't get it. Cannot get it. So that is where we are in terms of that. Now, the next announcement. After that, I have to announce, before I'm going to bring in CC just now, I have to announce that we learned yesterday that the teachers are scheduled to go back on the road from tomorrow. You know, you had the issue with the teachers who went on strike for over 3 weeks, I think. They're talking about collective bargaining, and the government, the Lidalian government, said that they strike illegal. They tried to withhold the pay of the teachers. They tried to stop the union deductions. The matter went to court, and Justice Kisoon ruled that the strike was legal. Justice Kisoon ordered that they continue, that they pay the teachers for the days that they were on strike, and that they continue to make the union deductions. Those orders were made. And the Vice President, Bharat Jagdeo, jumped on the one he Thursday usual use out and called the judge presumptuous. He said the judge presumptuous in his ruling. In other words, he attacking a member of the judiciary for the ruling. And as people have commented, including GHK Lal and others, that it is so out of or the ordinary for a vice president, the voice of the ruling party, the voice of the ruling PPP, to go on one of his programs there, is what I call press conference, but not really a press conference, and call the judge presumptuous. That is the state, that is the place where we live, called Guyana. So the teachers have decided, the union has decided that they are going to go back on strike from tomorrow, Thursday, the 9th of May. So let's see where that will go, because The government finding money for everything. Everything they're finding money for. But they can't find money for the teachers who are so deserving of a raise of pay. And the judge talk about collective bargaining. And, this place is a sad place. And they just remarked on it. Because what they did, what the president did, that he had selected a few teachers and he had called them to State House. And judge said there can't be collective bargaining when you have a union. And only a few days ago, on May Day, 1st of May, that would have been last Wednesday, they invited a few teachers to go for a brunch. A few teachers went there for a brunch with the president. That is what they are doing. That is what they're doing. And they're talking about democracy. About to say democracy. They talk about democracy. So the teachers have decided, the union. So let me see where that will go. Some people are critical of the fact that the teachers came off the road. People were saying that they should remain on strike until their demands were met. So let's see where that will go now. Now, one more thing I want to mention before I bring in Mr. Conway. It came to my attention some time ago, and it was confirmed. I confirmed it on Saturday last, that the police, the immigration department, and the immigration department is Guyana, comes under the Commissioner of Police. The Commissioner of Police is the Chief Immigration Officer. It was revealed that they have a list at the ports in Guyana. The ports. The main port is Timeri International, Chedijagan International Airport, of persons who are to be arrested when they arrive in Guyana. Let me repeat that. It was revealed that the police have a list at the ports in Guyana saying, with names of persons, I understand there are about 80 names of persons who are to be arrested when they arrive in Guyana. So about 3 weeks ago, or perhaps even a little longer than that, a Guyanese who is a citizen of the US, traveled to Guyana for the funeral of his nephew. And when he arrived at the Chedijagan International Airport, he was detained, arrested by the immigration officers. And when he inquired about what he was arrested for, they don't know what he's been arrested for, but all they can tell him is that there's a note in the system saying that he should be arrested on arrival. So they proceeded to arrest him. They call in, and this is how the story goes, this was related. They call in then the CID. The CID, same thing. Yes, he's to be arrested. They cannot say why he's to be arrested. His lawyers or his lawyer intervened. They cannot tell the liar why he was arrested. The matter was reported to the U.S. Embassy. They had a big to and fro. The man was detained, arrested for in excess of 7 hours before he was then allowed to go into the country to go to his nephew's funeral. About 7 to 8 hours he was detained in Ghana. And I don't know, so it looked like we are rapidly going into this police state. Now, if you are going to have a notation for person to be arrested, the people who are going to effect the arrest are to be able to tell the person what they're being arrested for. Immigration, I know what he's been arrested for. The CID, know what he's been arrested for, but he's been arrested. And to make matters worse, after the intervention, I understand this thing went right up. Complaints went right up to the top. And there too, all they know that something there for the man to be arrested. They cannot explain why this man should be arrested. And then the man was eventually released without any charge or anything like that. Without any charge. The man did what he had to do in terms of funeral and so on. Then he traveled back out of Guyana. But he prevented him from traveling. So you have a note for him to be arrested. And he is able to go about it. Well, eventually he was released. And he is able to leave Guyana without any question or anything like that. Something got to be wrong. And I would hope that that man seeks the advice of a good lawyer and take the police and the government. You can't sue the police or matter like the Attorney General to court, because there is a clear violation of the person's constitutional right. 7 hours you arresting a man for what? For what? All because somebody must put a name on a list. And as I've said, my information is that the list remains there with about 18 persons' name on the list of persons who are to be arrested when they arrive in Guyana. Well, let me say this. I hope my name is on the list. I hope that they put my name on the list. I have arrived there. I have traveled over the past year or so in and out, and they don't give me no hassle. But I hope that they put my name so I could get a little pension money. Because it is unconstitutional. It is wrong. But then the rule of law seems to have broken down in Guyana. So you can violate people's rights with impunity. That is what's going on. Then the attorney general can come and complain that, oh, they got to pay this money and the people are acting inappropriately and unconstitutionally, referring to the police. Well, you are the attorney general. It's time you step in and put a stop to this blasted nonsense. That's the only way I can describe it. Put a stop to this nonsense. They are violating people's rights, left, right, and center. And the reason why it continues, in my view, is because no one is held accountable. No one is held accountable. So Rastaman said, must be careful. Careful what Rastaman, right? One must be careful for. I am frightened nothing. Everything I speak here is the truth. And if they want to arrest me when I arrive for speaking the truth, well, then so be it. Because that threat is not going to, or that information is not going to prevent me from traveling when I have to. I don't have the names. I'm told 80 names are there. I am advised, I'm informed that they have a list with 80 names of persons, obviously persons in the diaspora, who are to be arrested on arrival in Guyana. I've said a lot. Let me begin, Mr. Connery. CC, what say you, my brother?
Well, I know they continue to violate people's person's right, And I heard about the incident with, I think the guy is from London or somewhere there. And I heard about a list that is there also. The persons, when they come into Guyana, they'll be arrested. And it's a breach of the Constitution, because if you're going to arrest me, I must be told in simple language, in language that I understand, and in detail, what is it you are arresting me for? Don't say something in the system. No. And going back to the teachers get a right to go back on strike. If slippers on the ground got to do it, well, let slippers on the ground do it. The Constitution is clear that there must be negotiation, that they must sit down and talk. But the government and doing that. So if and the judges, the ruling of the judge is very sound. And if the second vice president feels that it is wrong, can't be using word like presumptuous and all kind of thing there. Let him use his attorney general, and let them go to the court. Even if they gotta go all the way to the CCJ, that's the way forward. So those things that are going on there, is total nonsense, Paul.
Total nonsense, or as the late Nyla Welch would say, total nonsenseness. Total nonsense. But I maintain, and I did report here already, that on sometime last year, perhaps even, I think it was last year early, when I was traveling out of Guyana, I passed through immigration, passed through the security, and then an immigration officer approached me to find out if I had a permission to leave the country. So I said, well, I asked him, why would I need permission to leave the country? And then, but I did say, and I got to repeat it, the man disarmed me in his professional and courteous approach. He approached me so courteously, he was so professional that he disarmed me, because y'all know I like a war. And under normal circumstances, I would have told him I have nothing to show you, because Justice Navendra Singh had ruled that the police cannot prevent someone from leaving the country unless the court so orders. So if a person is charged with an indictable offense and you feel that they should not leave the country, the police have to move to the High Court to get an order from the court to prevent that person from leaving the country. So I told him that. But as I said, the man disarmed me. So I went on my computer and I showed him the order of the court for me to travel out of the country. And then he said thanks, he was satisfied. And later he came back and he wanted the reference information. And again, I showed him. But since then, I haven't had any unpleasant encounters. So I guess they must take off whatever thing they had on my name. But again, I say, to arrest a person on arrival, somebody's asking where the person is from. The man is a born Guyanese, but he is a naturalized U.S. citizen. So he's traveling on a U.S. passport, and that is what they did. I understand the people reported to the embassy and all that, as they should have done. Report to the embassy that a U.S. citizen is being detained unnecessarily by the Guyanese authority. So yeah, so that is what. So we're gonna see where that will go. We are gonna see where that will go. Yes, Francis, 5433, Nyland Welch. Nyland Welch. Remember these numbers, old police, 5433, Nyland Welch. And whatever to say there, well, a lot of people, there's 18 forces. I don't know who those forces are, but we can guess about the name of some of those persons. Now, let me, again, I say this is because of the politicization of the Guyana Police Force by the current administration. There's absolutely no doubt about that, because I am saying this, that the police will not on their own, including the acting commissioner of the extended squatter or the man in charge at CID. I don't think they're going to go on their own and put people's name on lists to be apprehended on arrival in Guyana. Those are instructions from government they get. Those are instructions, because the police force is now so politicized that they hardly make a move unless they are instructed to do so. And the unfortunate thing is that they don't question whether this thing is legal, whether it's constitutional or not. They don't care. You tell them do this, they jump on to do it, because what they're trying to do is to maintain. You think the extended squatter that want to question or at least advance some cogent reason as to why this should not be done? No, because if I can tell you in the morning, pack up and go, pack your thing and go. So he's there, past his retirement age. And, I remember a few weeks ago, Jimmy Kimmel, the late night comedian, he hosted one of those, I think the Oscars or one of those shows. And while he was hosting the show, Donald Trump tweeted, well, not tweet now, the X, they're criticizing the performance of Jimmy Kimmel. And Jimmy said, why is Donald Trump up this late? Don't he know it's past his jail time? I was so amused by that. He asked, why is he up so late? You know it's past his jail time. Well, it's the same thing, something similar with these people. They're going to do whatever they do because it's past their retirement time. And they're just dancing to whatever music is being played. But I want them to know that many times what is being played is waltz, oldies, and you're dancing out of tune. Like the comic show we had the other night there. You're dancing out of tune. And I say this to say about this politicization. Let me show you this. Let me show you this thing. Now, what we see in here, this is the president during the Congress, and these men in red with black, what you call it, I don't know what we call it, jumper or whatever we call it. These are members of the presidential guard. Look, these are members of the presidential guard. And for those of you who don't know, the presidential guard is a unit in the Guyana police force. So you have a situation here. The members of the presidential guard, policemen who are guarding the president, they dress partly in the PPP colors, the party colors. So how can you have professionalism? How can you have people respecting these people? And I put this up because let me tell you, I was the head of the presidential guard for a period during Dr. Chetty Jagan's presidency. I was the head of the presidential guard. And those things could have never happened under any one of the heads who were there. Never happened. Men were dressed in this sword jack and so on, but to be wearing, and this is not the only occasion, there are other occasions where the people are dressed in inappropriate clothing, I would call it, inappropriate. And people wonder, why is it people have been showing the police so much disrespect? All these are reasons for the disrespect. You have a unit of the Guyana Police Force, the Presidential Guard, dressed in clearly colors representing a political party. Representing a political party. And then you have a man there. He too is a man who was out and was brought back in. I refer to the head of the Presidential Guard, Assistant Commissioner, Special Assistant Commissioner Edgar Thomas. That's what you have. So you have E come back. He was on retirement in 2020 when they called him back to head the presidential guard following the change of government. They bring Ikin, they made him the acting commissioner under controversial circumstances. He believed he should have retired on the 4th of August last year. The president kept him on indefinitely. So whatever they are told to do, they will do. They're not a question. No one has the good sense or decency to say, well, look, the policemen who guarding the president should not be dressed like that. It looks bad. At least for the optics, it looks bad. Nobody can say that. So they just go ahead. And then you continue to lose whatever respect you have. And you want to wonder why people cussing out police on the road, why people attacking police, why people assaulting police. It's because of the manner in which the force is perceived, how they see the force as a political tool. Let me bring in Mr. Conway for him to have his say on that, and then we're going to move on. CC, I'm sure I showed you the pictures earlier. What are your views, my friend?
Couldn't imagine. Couldn't imagine. But then politics has dominated the police force so much, at our levels. At our level. So maybe it isn't. We should have expected that they go to the Congress and they wear the political colors. And don't tell me the quartermaster store and get uniform for them. Yeah, the politics has taken over the police force completely. Political interference in the Ghana police force will continue. And they started from the top because as soon as they became the government, Edgar Thomas was on pre-retirement leave. And they said, "Oh, we want tea, and he doing the biddings." And he can't say no because they say, "Hey, go along your way home," and he wants to stay around. So we don't expect much more political interference in the Ghana police force.
Yeah, that's what we're going to get. Now let me move on to the next subject. The next subject is a very disturbing one. And I refer here to a release from the Police Corporate Communication Unit, the Police Corporate Propaganda Unit, I call them, about an incident at the Letem Police Station. And here what it says, I'm going to read the article and then we're going to go into it. It says OPR, that's the Office of Professional Responsibility, launches investigation after man hangs himself at the Letem Police Station lockups while being detained for allegedly abusing his wife. That is the caption. Then it goes on to say the Ghana Police Force Office of Professional Responsibility, OPR, is currently investigating a hanging that occurred on Monday, May 6, 2024, between 05 hours and 7:45 hours at Letem Police Station by Carl Benedict, age 37, a driver of St. Ignatius Village, Letem, Region 9. According to reports, Carl Benedict and his wife have been together for 18 years and have 5 children. However, during their relationship, she was subjected to constant physical abuse. These incidents were reported to the police at Letem Police Station, and Carl was charged and brought to court. On May 16, 2023, he was found guilty of one of the charges and was fined $10,000. On Sunday, May 5th or May 5, 2024, the police received a call from a concerned resident reporting that Carl was assaulting his wife. Ranks responded to the report and Carl was arrested and escorted to the Letem Police Station. At the station, his clothes were removed and he was placed in a cell by himself with only shorts on, while his wife's statement was being taken. She was also issued with a medical certificate and escorted to seek medical attention for her injuries. At about 7:45 hours on Monday the 6th of May 2024, the ranks entered the lockups and discovered Carl hanging by his neck with the waistband of his shorts, which he had removed and tied it to a metal vent on the lockup's southern wall. The scene was processed and photographed by crime scene technicians, and Carl was transported to the Letem Regional Hospital where he was pronounced dead by a doctor. The body showed no marks of violence and is currently lying at the said hospital awaiting a post-mortem examination. Investigations by the Office of Professional Responsibility is ongoing. That is the police release. That is the police release. But there are several things. Again, let me say this before I dissect this release. I believe that one of the main problems you have is that the Office of Professional Responsibility, who is headed by a civilian, Mark Ramatar, doesn't have a clue about how releases relating to criminal and other policing matters should be made. And it would look that the man has carte blanche. So no one reviews these things when they send them out. He just write whatever you got to write, and it is sent there for the world to see. But there's so many things wrong with this release. And before I bring in Mr. Conway, let me go through my observation. Mr. Conway might have the same or even other observations. They say that this incident occurred between 5 o'clock and 7:45 hours at the Latham police station. So it's between a 2 and 3/4 hours window. This is significant. I'll explain later why. Now, the next thing they're going to tell you that in 2023, May 2023, just about a year ago, he was found guilty of one of the charges which he Why is the significance of that? What is the significance? He's a abuser, and he was charged and he went before the court. But now he's found dead in the lockup. You gotta mention that he was charged sometime last year. What is the significance of mentioning that now that he is you claim that you're alleging that he committed suicide? And then hear what they say, unbelievable, unbelievable. And or Scotty Duncan would have described it, he would have put in the adjective, unbelievable. The adjective comes between the un and the believable. And it says at the station, this is what the police public cooperation unit is saying, at the station, his clothes were removed and he was placed in a cell by himself with only his shorts on. Now let me go through that part again. This man is arrested, you say, for assaulting, abusing his wife. You take him to the station and you are telling us openly that you're violating his constitutional rights. You're violating his right because you remove his clothing and they put him in the lockup. Why did you remove his clothing? Do you not recognize when you give this release that that is an indictment against the police? To put a man in the lockup without his clothing on, you take off his clothing, you put it yourself, and you are saying he go in the lockup with only his shorts on. My Lord, I can't believe these things coming from the police. The release that the police is giving, the official release. He was put in a cell with only his shorts on, and then they go on while his wife's statement was being taken. And then they go on to say she was also issued with a medical certificate and escorted to the seek medical attention. So she got injuries. You arrest your husband, you strip him down to his shorts, you put him in the lockup, and before you try to get her to get medical attention immediately, you put Shiva sit down and you're taking a statement from her. That is what they are saying. They are taking a statement from her. And then this unprofessional unit is saying that she was issued with a medical certificate and escorted to seek medical attention. Well, the police didn't understand. If she's been escorted to seek medical attention, you don't have to give her a medical certificate. The police will go there with the medical certificate and hand it to the doctor. And the police is required to write a statement to say that he escorted her to and from medical attention. Or on the way, between the time he left the station, he took her to the station, she did not receive any further injuries or so. The police is expected to write a statement to that effect. But they're saying, again, they're saying, this man is arrested and taken to the police station. They strip him down to his shorts and put him in the lockup. And then they sat his wife down and taken a statement from her and to take her to the hospital later. My Lord, I don't know where we are going or where they have gone. Then they say about 7:45 hours. I told you I'll talk about the significance of the time between 5 hours and 7:45 hours. Because they say this incident occurred between 5 hours and 7:45 hours, 2 and 3/4 hours, 2 and 3/4 hours. The standing order of the police force is clear that when a person is placed in custody, they are to be visited every hour on the hour, and records made in the charge sheet and the diary, prisoner's charge sheet and the diary about the visit, what condition the person is in. And the same standing order says that if the person appears to be intoxicated, then the visit has to be more frequent, every half an hour, and records have to be made. So they're saying this man was placed in the lockup. Let me assume that he was sober. So for 2 3/4 hours, he wasn't visited. Right away, breach of the standing order. And up to now, I can't understand why it's closed. You remove his clothes before you place him in the lockup. And then finally, before Mr. Conway is invited to make his comment, they said the body showed no marks of violence. Now, but even before I go to that, they say the man was found. Let me read this part. About 7:45 hours on Monday the 6th, the Rams entered the lockups and discovered Carl hanging by his neck with the waistband of his shorts. I wonder what brand shorts this man get. The waistband. This man hang himself with the waistband of his shorts. Corporate, look, when you all tell people this thing, you all gotta come with some story that is at least a little plausible, a little believable. A man hang himself with the waistband of his shorts. What kind of shorts they buy? What was the waistband made of? What was the waistband made of? So he hung himself. So this waistband is so big and so strong that he can tie it around his neck, tie it to the metal vent in the lockups, and then he hung himself with it. Something wrong. Something wrong. That is the type of shorts I say the Caesar should wear when he coming to visit anybody. A strong shorts, no clothes on. I talk about the man in charge of major crime when he comes to visit. Make sure he get on a shorts like that. Strong waistband, enough to hang people with. And then they say, this man hung himself, but they say no, the body showed no marks of violence. So if he hung himself with, you ain't got not mark around his neck or anything like that. They said no marks of violence other than the one around his neck, They say he had no marks of violence on the body. So this strong waistband shorts didn't even make an impression around this man's neck. Look, all I would say to Mark Ramatar and the others, to give us the understanding that you're telling tales, you should start stories like these with Mariddle, Marie. Because a little by when you start to tell a tale, you just start with Mariddle, Marie. Then you say, my father had a tree. And then you're going to describe something and we got to tell you what the fruit is. I can't imagine, and this is an official release, And here, before I bring in Mr. Conway, they say OPR investigated. I want to know the strength of the Office of the Professional Responsibility. Because to the best of my recollection, since this year start, was it 10, 12, or even more investigations. Every time something happened, OPR investigating. What is the strength? What is the composition of the Office of Professional Responsibility of the Guyana Police Force to be undertaking all of these major investigations? Let me bring in CC, man. CC is a wise old lad, older than I am, both in age and experience, and therefore I will expect that maybe he can give some plausible explanation to some of these Nancy stories that are being told. CC, hold on, let me bring you in. Yes, my brother, go ahead, man, go.
But more than Nancy stories, it sounds like magic. I remember when I was in fourth standard, they had a magic man. A man came to number 29 government school. That's the only school I went to. And he was showing some magic. But before he put in action, he used to say, hocus pocus, monkey's call, 1, 2, 3. And then he pull out some dollar from some place, and I'm gonna do hocus pocus, monkey's call, 1, 2, 3. Perhaps I should start the way. And the thing is that they have a standing order that dealing with prisoners, Standing order number 73. And in the standing order, it is from page 283. And I want them to read it to 302. And section 11 says, the time about treatment of prisoner in police custody. Let me read it. The treatment of persons in police custody must be courteous and humane, merely because they have been illegally restrained on account of some offense. It does not mean that they should receive other than courteous treatment. Now, putting a man in the lockups, taking away his clothes, left in the bare shorts. Something and matching up there. Something is radically wrong. Why would you put the man in the lockups? Did he indicate to you that he was suicidal? So you won't put him in clothes in you take away his clothes that he will hang himself. And if you do that, you have to check. A big period between 5:45 in the morning to 7:45. No checks. Apparently no checks was done. And if a man is suicidal, you have to make a regular checks in the diary, visit the prisoners, the charge sheet call for entry, visit the prisoners, the station diary call for entry for prisoners. And then I want to know before he was placed in the lockups by himself, was the lockup search? Did they check for see if there are anything there that he could have injured himself, that he could have injured other persons, that he could have damaged the government property? And I was commander for Latin region there. And I know the lockups well, unless it's changed. It's a little distance away from the main building. I think somewhere east of that building, the west of that building, there's a lockup by itself. And some years ago, it used to be a prison that persons with short sentences used to spend their time there instead of coming to Georgetown. So the lockups is not in the confines of the police building itself, the inquiry's office. It is some distance away. So maybe that prevented them from going and check. But then how could a man hang himself with the shorts? Perhaps you said the man was wearing shorts like see that you recommended Caesar should wear. Caesar come and see you. That prisoners has got to be checked. And the mere fact you saying from the inception, we put in the lockups and we take off your clothes, left with the bare shots, it's telling you something. And it's telling you that you got to be checked regularly. Regularly. You got to be checked regularly. And all the nonsense that they sit down and take the wife's statement before you escort her to the hospital to seek medical attention. And as you rightly mentioned, Paul, that you give evidence during the journey from the police station to the hospital, she received no further injuries. Those are critical bits and pieces of evidence, And let me tell you some stories about lockups. This one reminds me I think in the 70s, the late 70s, or where a man hung himself in the lockups at Porica police station with his belt. And there was the station sergeant saying, "Oh God, we could tell the officer that the man been in the lockups with the belt. He's supposed to come. And they take it down for me they loose it, cut down the belt, and hang it with the pants." And then I have two incidents which I want to share with police. When I was Commander Borbis, they had Stephen Mansell. He retired as a senior superintendent. He was in charge of Springlands Police Station. And he used to go in early in the morning and check. He believed, I used to put to them, there are three eyes of management: inspect, investigate, and inform. I repeat, inspect, investigate, and inform. Mansell went in early morning, about 5:30, and they reported him 3 male prisoners in lockups, alive and well. Well, Mansell was a no-nonsense man, so he said, no, let me go and check them. And when he go and check, he find one, according to his language, crump up in a corner in the lockups. Man said he wasn't feeling good. So Mansell called me. I said, what are we going to do? He said, so I carry to the hospital. And he took him to the hospital. And the man said he was complaining all night that he not feeling good. And the police said he stay right there till morning. And Mansell, they escorted him to the hospital. And within a couple of hours, the man died. So if prisoners complain they're not feeling well, you need to check them. You need to make sure that they get medical attention. And this one, let me talk this one. We had a police girl station at Springlands, and she had a boyfriend who stabbed her up, and she was hospitalized. And the police couldn't find her boyfriend. And believe it or not, his brother, I could call his name Colin Bino. a good friend of mine, was a former head teacher. I think he was a former president of the GTU. And Colin Bino called me about 3 o'clock in the morning. He said, I understand my brother stab upstay and the police can't find him. And he gave me a location where the brother is to be found. I called the police at Wim and they went and they found him. About an hour afterward, Bino called me. He said the police get the brother, but the brother drink poison and they get him in the lockups. I immediately called the detective assistant superintendent who was stationed there. And I said, tell me what Bino, brother. He said, I'm sorry. He said he drink poison, but he mouth and smelling poison. Well, I use some language that I cannot disclose or cannot repeat on this thing. And I said, you will carry him now to the hospital. You yourself escort him to the hospital. And when you reach there, call me and tell me what happened. He called me about 4 hours. He said, I'm sorry, I carried him to the hospital. And they admitted him. And within an hour, the man died. The point I want to make is that prisoners must be properly treated. And if they complain that they're sick or they're not feeling well, seek medical attention. And prisoners must be visited regularly. The standing order saying that at least once an hour. But in circumstances where persons are ill or they're drunk or they're intoxicated, they have been like every half an hour you must check them. I must check their lockups before you put them inside there to ensure that they don't have anything in there that they could injure themselves, they could injure you, or they could injure or they could damage government property. So what happened to them there is ridiculous. Yeah, you put a man in there with the bare shorts, and they're telling me use his short, the waist of his shorts to hang himself. I can't believe that. There's way he's called poppycock. Or my son used to say when he was going to school, nonsensical nonsense they're telling you, Paul. But then again, they're saying OPR would investigate. Are you an OPR investigator and you don't get nothing? For me, OPR is one possible result, and then you get nothing out of it. OPR, one possible result. Nothing or cover up or nothing. So let's wait and see what will happen.
Well, while you're waiting, don't hold your breath, because you're going to die some asphyxiation. If you're going to hold your breath because the amount of investigations, you don't hear anything further. And let me say this, because some people are asking the question. Now, the standard procedure is that once a person is to be placed in the lockup, as Mr. Conway said, you got to search him. You have to remove his belt. You have to remove his shoes. You don't allow a person to go in the lockup with shoes and belt. And if he has anything else that you believe he might arm himself with, you have to remove those. People have been known to hang themselves with the trousers, with the short, with the short and small. Yeah, those things have happened. But this one is perhaps a farce where a man hangs himself, he rip off the waistband from his shorts. That is what they're telling us. He rip off the waistband from his shorts. So wonder what kind of shorts he was wearing. And this waistband was long and strong enough for him to tie it around his neck, tie it on the vent, that is what they say, and hang himself. And of course, let me remind you that in order for him to hang himself, the waistband must have been strong enough to withhold the body weight. Because at some stage, let's assume that he's able, for argument's sake, to rip off this thing, tie it around his neck, tie it on the vent. When he let go, this thing got to be strong enough to hold him there to cause him to either suffocate or break his spine or something like that. This story is so nonsensical. I don't. But these are the same people who told us, remember, that the decomposed body was taken to the hospital to be pronounced dead. This is the same unit told us that. So when you get these things from them, you should not be surprised, but we are still surprised. So you have to remove the person's belt. You have to remove the person's shirt. You search the person. And as we have said, the standing order stipulates that you have to check the prisoner every hour. You make a record in the prisoner's charge sheet. You also make record in the diary. If he is intoxicated, you have to visit more frequently, at least every half an hour, and records have to be made. So I hope that when they do this investigation, they look for all these records, because here you have a situation where they say between 5 and 7:45 this incident occurred. So they're telling us that no visit was paid to this man for 2 3/4 hours. Someone must be held accountable. someone. I have had incidents where I remember when I was Commander B Division, I was a commander, but I wasn't there at the time. I had traveled to Georgetown, Glasgow. My 2IC was the man. He called me to tell me a prison hung himself in the Reliance police station lockups. And we investigated. It was true. The man hung himself with his short and that was confirmed. We have had incident, and let me remind you of this one too. People memory shallow. I think it was back in some year back, 2018 or 2019, sometime around then. A prisoner was found dead in the Saudi lockup, Lal Bachan Bahadur, I think the man name. And a lot of people end up getting trouble with that matter. A SC girl, I think Milo was her name, end up getting charged with manslaughter because she decided she gonna cover up. It was clear the police went there and assaulted the man, and she, being the only custodian of the key during that period, claimed that nobody went in there. And when when the Complaints Authority did the investigation, it was recommended that she should be charged with this man's death, and she was charged with the man's death. And I said there was a lot of fallout from that matter because the commander at the time was the same commander now in Regional 4C. Recommendation was made that he should be disciplined by the Complaints Authority. And we at the Police Service Commission then delegated the authority to the man who is now sitting in the commissioner's chair to investigate. And he I can't say, I can't describe it. But let me do what the Complaints Authority said. The Complaint Authority said that it was clear that this man had no right report, and the man made a lot of remarks about the man who now sits in the commissioner's chair. The Complaints Authority made those remarks. I would never forget it. I would never forget. So let's see what is going to happen with this Letem matter. This Letem matter, where this man is found, they say young himself. And again, I say for the younger policemen in particular, the sequence of events as outlined by the Police Corporate Communication Unit is only indicting the police force. Because one, the man is arrested, the man is taken there. Why is he put in the lockups without his clothes? They said a strip his clothes. There's a violation of the man's right away. They take off his clothes, they strip him down to his shorts, and they put him in the lockup. One. And they are saying that after that was done, they were taking a statement from the man's wife. Then they gave her a medical certificate and escorted her to the hospital. Well, that's wrong. That is wrong. Because you can only escort her to the hospital if she had injuries or she complained or you see visible sign of injuries. And therefore, that is immediate action. You got to deal with that urgently. Take her to the hospital, and statement can be taken later. And again, if she's good, well, let me tell the policeman this too. Medical certificates are not to be given to the person. That is a practice that has crept into the police force over the years. The police, when a person is going to seek medical attention as a result of some complaint of some injury inflicted by someone else, the person should be escorted by a police rank to the hospital. It's the police rank who will have the medical certificate that will be given to the doctor. And the doctor will examine and give the certificate back to the police. When the policeman returns to the station, he's required to write a statement to say that from the time the person left the station and received medical attention, there was no further injury. Because if you don't do that, on the way, the person could fall down, the person could inflict injuries on himself, and then you blame it on the person who is arrested. So all of those things used to be standard policing practices, which have gone through the window, and that is why we have so much problems now. That is why we have so much problems. But let me ask Mr. Conway if you want to say anything more on this letter matter before I move on to the next issue. Mr. Conway, anything more on this matter?
Another thing, I wonder how strong was this wave span, because looking at the man's photograph, the man is over 160 pounds. Over 160 pounds. He looked like a big, strappy man. And the waistband had to be maybe really, really strong. And then when a man is brought to the station, Yeah, entry would be made in the station diary about his physical examinations made on the exposed part of his body. No sign of injury seen. He made no arrest against the complaining rank or any member of the force. Or if he made complaints, you record it. Or if you see sign of injury, you see it. All those things there are basic things, but those things have gone through the window. And total nonsense they're telling us.
And that is why the police find themselves, and let me say this, let me digress to say this. We come on this program and we explain. People might feel that our style might be a bit confrontational, might be a little bit aggressive. That's our style. We try to teach. And we say we do this because before we were basically declared persona non grata, we would have had the opportunity to go into a classroom setting and teach officers and other ranks, bring this information to their attention and get an opportunity to interact them and so on. But let me say this, forget about the style, forget about the messengers, listen to the message. And if you listen to the message, you're not going to go wrong. If you to listen to the message, and then again, I say a lot of these things that we're telling you are either in the law, either in the constitution, the police standing order, the things are there, but no one takes time to teach these ranks these things. A man passed out of trade school after 6 months. He goes out there and he's absorbed into the system. No instruction classes are held. Refresher training and these things are very limited. Many times the supervisors themselves lack the knowledge. So that is what we have happening. That is why we have all of these problems, which will segue me now into the next issue. Police release again. I think this was a few days ago, yesterday it might have been. And I'm referring to evidence. This is what the police release. And it's relative to a video uploaded on social media, Facebook. On May 6, 2024, at approximately 21:15 hours, police ranks in Regional Division 4B were conducting a roadblock exercise at Diamond Public Road. During this time, a Land Cruiser bearing registration number PAE 528 was stopped. The driver, the Kali name, a 29-year-old of 127 DeGar Park, stopped his vehicle in the middle of the road, thereby preventing the free flow of traffic. This driver and his three friends, I put the three friends' name, then became verbally abusive towards the police officers and proceeded to behave in a disorderly manner, which resulted in a crowd gathering. The ranks continued to carry out their duties, and the mentioned individuals and vehicle were searched. No illegal items were found. The four individuals were subsequently arrested for disorderly behavior and taken to Grove Police Station for processing. They are scheduled to appear at the Diamond Magistrate Court on Tuesday, the 7th of May 2024 to answer to the charge of disorderly behavior. Now, let me say this. The video was sent to me the very night. Long video, about half an hour long. And what I saw there, the people cussing out the police. When I say cussing, expletives, all the F's and the S and the all sort of homophobic thing. You know when they say homophobic, what I mean? They calling the policeman big anti-man and all sort of thing. And this one particular man I noted carried on. He cussed out the police, he got up in the police face and all of this. And what they're claiming? They're claiming that they were driving 3 Land Cruisers. They said one, but 3 Land Cruisers. And the police pull up in front of them and stop them. They're claiming further that one particular police whom they pointed out had a submachine gun, and he pointed the submachine gun in a car with children in it. They will show the car with children. You don't see when the police find the submachine gun. But that was the allegation. And they're saying that this policeman was on the verge. They believe he was trembling and all that, like he was just ready to shoot. The man who was narrating the video said at one stage he felt he would have been killed, or the manner in which the policeman operated. Now, it was disgraceful behavior by the individuals. And it was unprofessional behavior, what I saw on the part of the police. And I'm going to tell you why I say that. I'm not here to knock the police. I want to take this opportunity to congratulate the police on the patience that they showed during the course of this verbal abuse by these people. Because I don't believe in my day I would have stood there. Well, first of all, in my days, that wouldn't happen. People had more respect for the police. We conducted ourselves far more professionally. But having witnessed what took place the night, I got to congratulate the police on their restraint. I have to congratulate the police on their restraint. But I'm saying this, it was total disrespect shown to the police. Total disrespect. And having said that, let me remind you all, or let me remind us all, that respect is something that you earn. You can't demand respect. Respect is something that you earn. And therefore, the video we showed, the slide that we showed you earlier, with members of the Presidential Guard dressed in what is clearly PPP colors during the Congress, those things breed disrespect. Those things breed disrespect. When you have a senior officer in the force who is alleged to have attempted to launder $16.5 million to the police credit union, those things breed disrespect. And so many other incidents, they breed disrespect. And this incident, in my view, is a manifestation of the disrespect which exists. Clearly. Now let me go into the statement that is issued by the police. They said they were conducting a roadblock. But let me say, as I say, it's a half-an-hour tape or thereabout. There was no evidence that there was a roadblock being conducted. No evidence at all. There was no road barrier. This is in the night, you know. They said 21:15. How do you conduct a roadblock without lights, without road reflectors and all that? There was no roadblock. There was no roadblock. Apparently, the police saw the vehicles and decided, for whatever reason, to stop the vehicle. Now, the force, well, you stop the vehicle. I don't know if you had reasonable cause, because that too is an issue. That too is an issue. We explained that on previous programs, that you have to have reasonable cause before you stop. You can't just willy-nilly decide to stop the vehicle, which seems to have been the case on this occasion. All right. Now, again, police talking, you pull over the vehicle. You want to allow the man to stop in the middle of the road and proceed to do searches when this vehicle in the middle of the road and blocking traffic? And don't tell me that is where the man stopped. You have to control the situation on the ground. The man has to be ordered to put the vehicle in the corner so that you don't impede the free flow of traffic. But that there was no indication that that was done. Because they say they claim to say the Land Rover was stopped, the vehicle stopped in the middle of the road, thereby preventing the free flow of traffic. That is what, again, this unprofessional corporate communication unit is revealing. The vehicle stopped in the middle of the road, you stop the vehicle. So how we stop in the middle of the road? If you have a roadblock, did you not signal the vehicle to go into the corner? And this is how they contradict themselves. Because if you have a roadblock and a vehicle is approaching the roadblock that you want to sort, you have to indicate to the driver to pull in the corner. And even if the driver stops the vehicle in the middle of the road, you have to order him to drive the vehicle in the corner. And if he refuses to do so, then you have to ensure the vehicle goes into the corner of the road and do not and does not obstruct the free flow of traffic. But in this instance, based on what I saw on the tape, the traffic stopped East Bank Road, 9:15 in the night, the vehicle passed diagonally across the road, stopped the whole thing. And then they say, disorderly. Well, I don't know if others behave disorderly, but from the tape that I saw, there was one man, as I said, expletive-laden comments. They were cussing up. All the F's and the S directed at the police. They also, another thing, and the people who were stopped asked on a few occasions who was in charge. From what I saw, I don't know that anybody was in charge. It doesn't appear to me, because I think I saw one man in uniform. He had on a long sleeve shirt. I think at one stage he might have been a corporal. And I saw him with a black bushat. You know, it's a bushat, long sleeve and a bushat. Well, I don't know if that bushat is part of the police kit now. but it caught my attention because I know that never used to be a part of the police kit. Bushot, you know what is the bushot? Army type bushot with a string hanging down. That is what the guy with the stripes around. So if you add this roadblock as a corporate communication is saying, who was in charge of the roadblock? Who was in charge of the roadblock? I saw no evidence of any roadblock. To be honest, I looked, I saw no evidence. As a matter of fact, when I saw the release from the police, I was surprised that they were saying it was a roadblock. I was surprised. And then the names, the police gave the names, I'm going to call the names, because the release here. They said the driver of the vehicle was Paul Davy, a 29-year-old of 127 DeGar Park. They said he's the person who stopped the vehicle in the middle of the road, thereby preventing the free flow of traffic. They talk about charge therefore for disorderly behavior. If he prevented the free flow of traffic, I hope the traffic people will get involved, and that too is an offense. So I hope they're going to deal with that. The other persons they said, no. They said Paul Davy was the driver. He's from 127 DeGar Park. They have Alpha Pool. He is, they say, a security of the same address, 127 DeGar Park. Our next person they said was Darren Jarrett. He's from Lot D, DeGar Park. He too, they say he's a security. And Sharon Diabru, 262 5th Street, Lillian, East Coast, Demerara. Those were the persons that they claimed. But, it is significant when you analyze who these persons they say were. Significant to me who these persons were. Now, before I go any further, let me bring in Mr. Conway to comment on this so-called roadblock that they said they had. See, I don't want to, hold on, I get a little issues here. I don't want to, we're getting a little technical issue to add Mr. Conway into this. Yeah, here he is now. Mr. Conway, I want to dominate the button, but let me hear what you got to say about this roadblock when you talk about.
It could never be a roadblock. Well, they didn't say a roadblock. They say it's an exercise, instead of an operation. But I always like to go back to the law.
But before you go on, see, they released said they were conducting a roadblock exercise at Diamond Public Road. That is what the corporate communication unit said, that they were conducting a roadblock exercise. So go ahead.
And here what the law says about roadblock or barriers. They say, notwithstanding any act, any officer, inspector, or subordinate officer may, if he considers necessary to do so for the maintenance and preservation of law and order, or for the prevention or detection of crime, erect or place or cause to be erected or place barriers in or across any road or street or in any public place within Guyana in such a manner as he thinks fit. Section 2 says, any member of the force may take all reasonable steps to prevent any vehicle being driven past such barrier, and any driver or any vehicle who fails to comply with any reasonable signal of a member of the force in uniform requiring such person to stop such vehicle before reaching any such barrier shall be liable on summary conviction to a fine of $48,750 and to imprisonment for 12 months. Section 3. No member of the force shall be liable for any loss or damage resulting in any such vehicle or for any injury to the driver or any other occupant or such vehicle as a result of the driver of such vehicle failing to obey any member of the force being under subsection 2. So the thing is telling clear that to conduct any road barriers, it must be an officer, inspector, or subordinate officer. And what I saw on that video there, no, apparently nobody was in charge. No, nobody was in charge. And if you're gonna conduct it in set up the road barrier, it gotta be properly done, and it gotta be properly supervised, and you have to give proper directions to persons who you going to stop? And if they fail to comply with those instructions, they could be charged and dealt with. And then I heard the explicit, I heard the cussing up, the non-stop cussing us, cussing up, and apparently nobody, well, they exercise a lot of restraint in this case. Plenty restraint. But what happened after then? What was the follow-up action? Did they bring things under control? And what happened to the violators? I hear about disorderly behavior. That passed the disorderly behavior stage. But again, we wait and see what really happened. What we saw on that video was total lawlessness, and the police had no command and control of what they call the setting up road barrier exercise. They had no command and control. Apparently, nobody was in charge.
Yeah, you made a good point. Up to now, they don't understand the difference between an exercise and an operation. They don't understand. They don't mean to learn that there's a big difference between an exercise and an operation. So they had this, according to them, this roadblock exercise and this thing on. And I remember when you talk about who should be in charge, if you recall, not so long ago, it was last year when the extended squatter who sits in the chair of the commissioner called in all the divisional traffic heads and had them reassigned. He moved them from station from where they were, put them elsewhere. And he made a statement to say, it is there in the media, that who should conduct roadblocks. Who should conduct? And there's only last year, he said roadblocks should be conducted by, I think, inspectors and officers. In other words, people in khaki clothes. And there was no evidence of anyone in khaki clothes at this roadblock, what they call roadblock. I know roadblock. And about control, about half an hour or so, about 28 minutes into the tape, somebody came up, I don't know who it was, some man with a sleeveless red top or something, and he seemed to have been an officer who seems to have brought some measure of control to the situation, because he's the one who was there ordering to the vehicle going to the corner. About half an hour into this incident before that took place, I don't know who that person was, but he seems to have brought some control in the situation. And again, let me tell you, as I said, what's in the name, what's in the address. The man who is driving the vehicle, the police said the driver of this Land Cruiser PAE 528, the driver Paul Davy of 129 or 127 Digar Park, stopped the vehicle in the middle of the road, thereby preventing the free flow of traffic. Let me remind you of the name and address here. This is an article in Stabrook News on July the 18th, 2019. Now, just do my research, Tell you when I come here, I come to give you proper information, proper, credible information. Hear what this article says. I'm going to read it for you to understand, and you make the connections. You are brilliant students. You make the connection. The charge against Marianne Davy, who was accused, well, let me get the headline first. Marianne Davy freed of attempted murder charge. July 18, 2019, this is the date of the article in Stabrook News. The charge against Marianne Davy, who was accused of attempting to murder a police constable by pointing a gun to his head and pulling the trigger, was today dismissed after a city magistrate ruled that the prosecution's case was not credible. It goes on. The charge against 26-year-old Davy of 127 Digas Park, the same address, Houston, alleged that on May the 13th, 2018, at the Guyana Motor Racing and Sports Club, located at Albert Street and Thomas Lands, Georgetown, with intent to commit murder, she discharged a loaded firearm at Constable 24785 Christopher Kisoon. The preliminary inquiry into the charge against Davy was conducted by the senior magistrate. They named the name, but I don't know why these names are necessary, in Georgetown. The magistrate ruled that a prima facie case was not made out against Davy and noted that the testimonies of policemen Kisoon, Older, and McAllister and one of the arresting ranks were conflicting and not credible. She went on to highlight a number of reasons why she discharged the matter. In regards to Kisoon's testimony, the magistrate said that she could not link his story to the accused person after he admitted during cross-examination that no spent shells were found at the scene, and he was unable to identify the accused during the set time due to the fact that he was intoxicated. She also said that there was no evidence of no video surveillance to support the story. The magistrate went on to say that she was forced to disregard the testimony of John Older because when Older was questioned by prosecutor during the PI, that is the preliminary inquiry, Older told the court that after submitting his original statement, his superior officer allegedly told him to change it so it would be in sync with Kisoon's statement. In addition, the magistrate stated that during the testimony, Older in court, Kohler could not see or did not see Davy discharge a gun, nor was he certain about the identity of the accused. In relation to McAllister, the magistrate revealed that the .32 pistol and .32 ammunition, which he said he placed in the evidence bag during the statement, were not the same when the same evidence bag was presented to court during the PI. Immediately after the magistrate discharged Davy, the prosecutor requested that the two remaining charges against Davy be transferred to another court, blah, 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 blah. It goes on. But I remember this name very well. I remember this matter very well, where they were alleging that this woman put a gun to the policeman's head outside GMRSC at Albert and Thomas Land and discharged a wrong. And a lot of dancing took place. The original thing says she was they charged with attempt murder. The original story says what happened on the first occasion. I ain't gonna bore you with all of that. But the outcome of that matter, as we said, matter was discharged. And I remember a senior officer gave evidence in that same matter. Senior police officer, Mr. Watts, gave evidence in that same matter. And when it comes to relating the serial number of the firearm that was used, certain digits or certain information was excluded in the witness box. I'll tell you how I remember when I was doing research. And when the lawyer questioned him under cross-examination, Officer Watts became very abusive to the lawyer in court, telling him that he can make mistake. He made a mistake with the number. He can make mistake because I just got for the watchman when you are sleeping and all sort of nonsense. A senior police officer in the witness box giving evidence said in court. And all of them, they're in the system now. They're getting promoted and all of them. But I'm going to call them. I'm going to mention these things because I mention it to say that a lot of the professional or unprofessional action that you're seeing taking part at the lower level, the senior people as well are involved or indulge in the same unprofessional action. So they can't teach, they can't, it's a blind leading the blind. Imagine an officer in the witness box in an attempt murder where a policeman is the victim. This woman alleged to have attempted to kill a policeman. And the senior officer giving evidence in relation to the serial number of the firearm. He left out, I think it's an alphanumeric, in other words, it's letters and numbers. If my memory serves me correct, he left out the alpha part. And of course, the defense lawyer picked up on that. Because if you left out the alpha part, it's a different weapon you're talking about. And then the man became abusive to the defense counsel. First, he said that he made a mistake, and he's only human, he can make mistake too. And then he went on to tell the liar that when the liars and them sleep in the night, he got for them patrolling and he think that is why he tired. All sort of crap he talk. And what happened? Nothing. As a matter of fact, yes, he's promoted. So I'm saying these things to tell you that when you look at the names and the incidents, the fact that they say they're going to charge them for disorderly behavior, watch out to see what can happen. Watch out. According to the release, they should have gone to court yesterday. There's no follow-up to say whether they went to court, what they were charged for, or what is the outcome. That is what you have. They jump and they give a release to say the people will go to court. These persons will go to court. They said they are scheduled to appear at the Diamond Magistrate Court on Tuesday, the 7th of May, 2024, to answer the charge. They did not say quite conveniently whether these people were kept in custody, where they were put on bail, if they were put on bail, how much money they were put on bail, and all that. They said so. But they said they were to go to court for disorderly behavior yesterday, Tuesday the 7th. And up to now, they said they get silent too. If tomorrow never comes, or yesterday it never came. Yesterday never came. And that is what we have. And that is why we're saying the old system broke up. The system has broken up. And I maintain that once you get people like the current Home Affairs Minister who's sleepwalking, you don't hear anything from him. And when he ventures to say anything, he talk a lot of balderdash. Like when he tell people if you get illegal firearm, put it in a bag and throw it in the yard. Then he come and he tell the firemen how to fight the fire. Put the hose at the source of the fire. He rebuking the chief fire officer and them. He instructing them how to fight fire. And then he jump up and he say, Scan, the man name now, cannot. He's banned from performing in Guyana. And the 27th, the man had a big show at Retrieve Linden. So he's a blow. So we understand that. He's a blow. But the ministry in which he's the minister is a serious ministry, Ministry of Home Affairs, police, prison, fire, those three major entities come under him. And he's not doing well. It is time this man decide to hang up his gloves, tell him to go home, you don't want to accept your resignation. You can't force you to stay. You can't force you to stay. Do like the police, man. Jump on them. In case you don't know where it's jump, you ain't talking about matrimony. Report sick, man. Stay home. Things might go better if you were to remove yourself from the scene. But I maintain, I said about 2 years ago, when they were talking about reform, I said the police force cannot be reformed when certain people remain in position. Like the Minister of Home Affairs there. At the time it was happy, now you get Ikin. You get people like Caesar. And you get many others. The admin man and all them. You cannot reform a police force when those people remain in position. Cannot. It is not going to work. Again, I say a senior officer landing money, $16.5 million. You can reform a police force like that. You get allegation, credible allegation by Boscom that the head of the major crime unit take $30 million to cover up a murder. That is the allegation. And what they do, they went after Boscom viciously, cybercrime charge and all sort of thing. They lay against him. A whistleblower, you know, a man who by definition, who by law is a whistleblower, which the law seeks to offer protection to. Even the president refused to offer the protection to the man. They don't want to hear the story. They don't want to hear what the man has to say. They went after him. They called a press conference to debunk what he has to say. And he has been persecuted ever since. So how are you going to reform a force like that? How are you going to reform when those persons are at the helm of the force? And I made the point, when you look at the training, look what is going on. Look what is going on. And I know Mr. Conway wants to say something about the training, a certain aspect of the training. I'm going to give him an opportunity just now to do so. But I maintain again that you can't reform the Guyana police force with certain people there. Back in 2004, 2005, when I was the point person in the reform, I said to Gail Teixeira, who was holding on as the Minister of Affairs, that I call names. I said reform police force has no place for people like, and I call the names and they tell you. I don't think she was very comfortable with that, but I was being honest. And like the crystal ball, the same thing, what I predicted came true. You cannot. You have to make some radical changes. This is not no cosmetic arrangement now where you transfer a man here, transfer. You have to make radical changes, such as the second vice president made when he was president with the army, when he removed 4 senior people from the army, put them elsewhere and so on. That is the type of radical change that you have to make. And I did say to Gail to share the time that I'm not talking about denying people their benefits and all of that. No, I'm not saying that if a man put in service, he ain't fit for the thing, you can just send you home. No, me, you ain't doing that. But you have to give them perhaps early retirement and all of these type of things so that you can have an impact and make meaningful changes. How can you reform the change, the force, when they don't even have a proper standing order? A guide to how people should conduct themselves. When Leslie James attempted to do it, us, the persons who he employed to do it, end up with a conspiracy to commit fraud charge. Nandalal and them, Nandalal went to NCN and talked a lot of rubbish. We get conspiracy to fraud. I have so much more that I want to say, but let me bring in Mr. Conway. Time running on me. CC, your views. Oh, what happened here?
Well, you made it very clear, similar facts doctrine in place all the time. What happened the other night and what happened when there had allegations that a woman attempted to murder a policeman, similar facts in place. And maybe what happened the other night might very well play out like what took place some time ago. But then you mentioned about training, and I can recall hearing the police saying that that they done away with promotion exams. They're gonna use core courses, that you have to undergo core courses before you are promoted. And I remember that the government spent millions of dollars through the citizen security program to train police officers. They had what we call a 1 year comprehensive training program, where the emergence group from the United States came and they did 1 year training program, conceptualized, designed, developed, implemented, and evaluated 39 training programs. The idea was that at the end, after the 1 year, that we have sustainability, that we replicate those training programs. I was with the emergence group for the 1 year, and then after they left, I continued the training. I hand over to Paul Williams, who recently retired as deputy commissioner, and he continued. And he handed over to Hicken, and Hicken scrapped those training programs. Instead of us sending the policemen to the United States of America, we brought America here. Excellent training programs, 29 training programs. We had trainer's manual, trainee's manual, hard copy, electronic copy. All those things were left there. And you know what Hicken did? He got somebody who ain't know anything about training and gave him what they call core courses. And let me analyze one. And this one is, I have it here. This one is called Core Course Junior Officers, Cadet Officer to Deputy Superintendent. And I would just want to go into it a bit. And let's look at the aim. And here what I said the aim. The aim of this course, I want you to follow me clearly. The aim of this course is to employ officers from the rank of cadet to deputy superintendent, distinguish, and it's not me word, the aim of the course is to empower officers from the rank of cadet to deputy superintendent, distinguished to assume future leadership roles with the knowledge and ability required to excel, to optimally promote personal and professional development, to build capacity in leadership, management, and operational functions at the middle management level. What nonsense. There is it, a statement or a sentence that carries 53 words and more confusing than anything else. And let me jump into our objectives. One, to enhance the efficiency and effectiveness of the Guyana Police Force. I know they're going to do that. 2, to expose junior officers to police and other related studies relevant to their development in the organization. And here is one. 3, to expand mental scope for job rotation. Repeat, to expand mental scope for job rotation and to enhance opportunities and experience. Next one, to prepare proficient junior officers as required for succession planning in the Guyana Police Force. To promote knowledge, planning, ability, planability, people relationship, competence, and leadership capability in the organization of social environments, ENVI awareness. And the last one, to increase ability in getting subordinates to appropriately implement procedure. And let me go back to this one. To prepare proficient junior officers as required for succession planning in the Guyana Police Force. There's no succession planning in the Guyana Police Force, none whatsoever. If you get a succession planning, or you have or you have the acting commissioner extended for an indefinite term. If you have succession planning in the Guyana Police Force, how come you don't get no deputy commissioner? Not a single deputy commissioner. If you have succession planning in the Guyana Police Force, how we don't have even a single female as an assistant commissioner or as a senior superintendent or an assistant commissioner. If you have succession planning in the Guyana Police Force, you say you have a police academy, and the academy is headed by a woman who, and I can't blame her, who does not have any experience in training. Yes, she went to Russia. Yes, she did well in forensic science, but she's not at the forensic science division. She's not dealing with forensic science, like away in the office looking at training. And then this one now, you have someone, an assistant superintendent is in charge as the commandant of the police office, the police college in Georgetown. And he has several instructors. And among one of those instructors is a deputy superintendent. The chief class instructor is a deputy superintendent, and the person in charge of the college here is an assistant superintendent. How could that be? And let me go more. And when you look at the aim and the objective, it gotta be smart. If the aim is not correct, you will miss the target. And this aim is correct, and then the objectives aren't smart. And my little training tell me to be smart is it gotta be specific. There's S. It gotta be measurable. It's gotta be achievable. There's A. And it gotta be realistic. And T is gotta be, when I did a little project mine, it's gotta be task oriented. Let me go more. Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and task oriented. And let's look. And if you look at the contents does not support the objectives. And if you look at the definition they have for communication, here what it says communication. Follow me very closely. Communication as a tool of management, and then open bracket, administration, communication, close bracket, is the interchange of facts, viewpoints, and ideas which brings about the unity of interest, clarity, purpose, and I'm not mispronouncing any word, and integration of effort in a group of individuals organized to achieve a specific mission. Over it again. Communication is a tool of management, open bracket, administration, communication, close bracket, is that interchange of facts, viewpoints, and ideas which brings about unity of interest, clarity of purpose, and integration of efforts in a group of individuals organized to achieve specific mission. And let me give you this other one here. Just bear with me a while. Okay, I'll get back. I'll get back to it. And so the objectives aren't smart. The aim isn't smart. and they're talking about succession plan, and you have no succession plan whatsoever. And it has some modules which aren't very clear. And it looks as though to me it will be chalk and talk. Chalk and talk. That uh, that the methodology that they're using aren't clear at all. Chalk and talk. That they don't there is no in terms there's no idea that you have question and answer sessions, whether you have discussions, whether you have hands-on learning, whether there be any video conferencing, whether they have role play, whether they have case studies, whether they have simulation, or whether they have a combination. And in terms of their assessment of the participants, there's no idea. They said this is a course preparing them for you get away with done away the exam, and you're preparing them for promotion. There's nothing to show how you would assess them. How would you assess them? Would they do any examination? Would the examination designed for cramming, or would you have things where they could able to internalize, conceptualize, and show whether or not they understand it? And also, would there be any evaluation? And a good idea I want to leave with them in terms of evaluation to look at Kirkpatrick's model of evaluation. That's 4 levels. You look at reaction, you look at learning, you look at behavior, and you look at results. I don't have time to go into all of them. And the instructional material that they're going to use, a whole set of things that not properly thought out in this thing. Will you have bulletin boards? Would you have television program? Would you use computer? Will you do e-learning and these kind of thing? If you don't evaluate, you don't know whether or not you will winning or losing the game. And in the evaluation process, you need to look at the reaction to the participants to the training, the learning, whether anything was, whether the knowledge or skills required, the behavior when they go back to station, whether they're able to put things that they learn in the practice, and the results, whether you have return for your investment, whether at the end of it they're able to put things that they learn in the practice. So this whole program that they have here is total nonsense. The core program, they call it. The objective is wrong, the aim wrong, the methodology is just talk and talk, and a whole sort of just like cut and paste, a whole sort of subjects you put together. You the whole sort of subjects just put together with no planning behind it. And here what they say about chairmanship. There is this definition of chairman. Chairmanship is defined as in charge of the position of being chairman, or the time being someone has the position under someone's chairmanship. A committee was set up under the chairmanship of Edmund Compton. Over. This is the definition for chairmanship. Chairmanship is defined as in charge of position of being a chairman, or at the time when someone has a position under someone's chairmanship. A committee was set up under the chairmanship of Edmund Compton. This is what they have for chairmanship. A set of subjects with no thought being and just put together, and they said this is core course, and this is how they will judge them in terms of having them promoted. Total nonsense, Paul.
Total nonsense. Well said. You got to come back on the next program to continue with that very subject. Because I know there are lots of other things that you want to talk about, but time has caught up with us. And I want to congratulate the students in class today. We have had record numbers in the schoolyard, and now live online. It's a record number. Thank you very much. Congratulations to you. I want to leave when Mr. Conway talk about succession planning, and perhaps he forgot to tell you or to ask them if there is succession planning, how is it you have a cadet officer as a branch commander in the Guyana Police Force? Yes, let me repeat that. A cadet officer is a branch commander in the Guyana Police Force. How is it, if you talk about succession planning, how is that possible? So that a lot of words they come and they tell you about, and meaningless thing, meaningless. Now, as I've said, we had quite a few other things to go into, but time would not permit us. We are already close to the 2-hour mark, and we don't want to go above that. I want to again congratulate all you students who were here in the schoolyard from very early, and all of those who came on the live, the record number, right? For one of the few times we got into the K's, you know, K, what K mean? K mean 1,000 when we talk about this thing. So thank you very much. And the only thing that I have to tell you, with all of these hundreds, over 1,000 persons on the live, I ain't get sufficient thumbs up. Why you want? And I said tomorrow is strike day. Teachers going on strike tomorrow. I didn't want to join them. We have too much to tell you. These two teachers have too much to tell you. But perhaps if you were doing this the next day, we would have joined slippers on the ground, and we would have joined in the strike until we get our due recognition. But be that as it may, we are appreciative of your efforts to be here, and God spare life. There are some things that we should have gone into. I don't want to leave you halfway, so I'm going to wait until Monday. God spare life Monday. You're going to see us here at 11 o'clock again for another episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. And I hope that when we come Monday, you can even do better than you did today. In the schoolyard, give me a thumbs up, or on the live. I thank you much for your attention. I know that we would have been very informative as usual. And don't miss Monday. Some of the things that we left back today, you're going to enjoy it very much on Monday. And I know that between now and Monday, other issues are going to come up that we have to deal with. Note that we haven't spoken about the traffic. More people have died since we last spoke. We haven't spoken about that. And some other issues that have come up in the past few days. So, folks, bye. Stay well. And see you, as I said, God spare life, see you on Monday for another episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Until then, stay well. Bye.